Hey YouTube, I'm Jonesy and this is Kid Drift, our sponsored mini wedge racer driver. And today, if you saw the opener, we have a Polaris Slingshot, but not the Peg Perigo version. Found this on Amazon. It's actually a Jex Petty. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. J-A-X-P-E-T-Y, but it was 295 bucks. The specs are it's 12 volt, it has RC control. To be honest, I don't have super high expectations. We love this Polaris Slingshot by Peg Perigo. It's massive, we can do cool things to it. We've done some awesome builds, you know, $2,000 crazy stuff. So we decided, what the heck, we pulled the trigger, we ordered a black plastic. We've never seen a black one before, we thought it was slick. So what we're going to do is we are going to unbox this thing and put it together and give you guys our unbiased opinion of it. So let's cut this thing open. What do we got in here? So we got a windscreen. We got, looks like a pair of front tires. And it looks like the majority of it's inside this giant plastic bag. Got steering wheel, oh, a rear shock, a real rear shock. So it looks like it has rear suspension on it, and this thing's pretty massive. We got some chrome rims. The Peg Perigo versions are just these gray, and we're gonna do a lot of side-by-side video, or pictures I should say. So those are pretty cool. So we've got the rear wheels, and it looks like these are removable by 4 screws, and you can actually rotate to the front tires because these actually do have traction bands on them. So it's got a little rubber strip. It's going to get a little bit more traction. It's going to run quieter. But if these wear out or break, you can actually swap the tire itself and just put the wheel driver onto the front wheel. So set those rears up there. Instructions, let's check these out. It's called the guidebook. So first one is a blown up view of it. It's got all of the car parts. Let's go through the steps. It says to read before assembling, so pretty basic. Looks like 6 pages total. Step 1, step by step, gasket, front wheel, gasket, cotter, wheel cover. So what that really means is before you put the wheel on, you're going to put a washer. That's what we call them over here. Washer, and then you put the front wheel, and then you put another washer, and then it's got a cotter, which is kind of a clip, and then the hubcap. Step 2, we're going to pull it out and we're going to raise it up, it looks like, and put a shock in there, and it looks like you're going to have to definitely pay attention. It's got, this is going to be the top. See, this tab is higher than the bottom one. Step 3 is you're going to locate the license plate bolt or screw holes and put that in. And step 4, step by step, rear wheel, then the gasket, cotter, and then a wheel cover. And step 5 is going to be your headrest, steering wheel, which just got a, looks like it's got some sound effects in it, windshield and the side mirrors. We're probably not going to put the side mirrors in because that's something when we do our custom lighting kit, we're going to put lights in the mirrors. And step 6. Oh yeah, so it's got music and horn. So we're going to put this sucker all together. Oh, and then it's got RC. Looks like it needs 2 number 7 batteries, which is a AAA. So you got to remove the cover, put your AAA batteries in there, and then fire that up. And then the last page here is a troubleshooting page. So let's put this thing together. Okay, charger, put that up there. So, headrests. I don't know if these look like these might be directional. It says R, so I don't know if that means rear, and L, left and right. So standing at the back, this is going to be the left. To me, it sure looks like it's going to be the solid plastic to the rear. It looks like they definitely fit in there a specific way. Well, that's a bit of a struggle. It just doesn't look like it wants to fit in there that way. Okay, got the head restraints on. Oh, here's the remote control and a little baggie of hardware. So let's get this sucker out of the box. We're going to bring in our lift table and start putting this beautiful beast together. You ready? Lift with the legs, not the back. Okay. All right, Kid Drift, you want to pump this guy up? Okay. So the next thing I look at, because the box is a little bit beat up, they actually had other pieces of cardboard on the outside, is before you start putting this thing together, make sure you're not getting a beat up, broken unit. So look around at your plastic, make sure nothing's cracked or broken. Well, it all looks good. I don't see any broken parts. Normally, the first step that I do is start charging your battery because it's going to take like 12 hours. Another thing, because I want to make sure that it's still a good battery, is if you guys got one of these little digital voltmeters, we're going to check the voltage on it. So put it to DC voltage. And we're at 12.65 volts. Now, a topped off 12 volt battery is 13.2 volts. And I've said this many, many times, but I hate these stock chargers. I really highly recommend you guys look into some of my other videos. And these little wall warts, you plug this into the wall and plug it into the car, which this actually has a built-in charge port underneath the passenger side seat, which it is convenient. But this does not know when it's at full charge, and people forget about them. Guilty. And you're continually charging the battery at like 14.5 volts, and you'll ruin the battery. So use like a Schumacher smart charger. It's called the Charge and Ride. Check it out. I'll put the link in the description. It's going to make the battery last for years and years and years instead of 6 months, and all of a sudden you're wondering why it doesn't work. So enough about that. Let's get back to the ride. Okay, so first step was to put the front wheels on. So make sure you got the 4 tabs to the outside. The wheel driver is going to go to the inside. Oh, hold on. We got to put washers first. So first step is gasket. Got enough room there, buddy? And it's got these little, I wouldn't call it a cotter pin. I don't know what kind of pin this is, but it's better than the Power Wheels brand, but they are a little bit tricky to put in. So what we're going to use, we're going to grab it with some needle nose pliers here. And oh yeah, put the washer on there. Good call, good call. He's a good worker. Whoa, I just flew across the room. All right, let's see if we can figure this out. There we go. So got that sucker on. And it doesn't hurt to actually put a little bit of assembly lube on there, some grease. Not too much because you don't want it to collect all the sand and stuff. And then these guys snap on here like this, but we're not going to do it because we don't leave stock alone. We're going to sandblast this and hydro dip it. Same with the mirrors. Looks like those just literally, yeah, snap in place like that. They just click in, but we're not going to do that because we're going to end up taking this apart and installing lights. So some of this stuff isn't like a basic installation. Why should I put this together twice, right? Okay, so front wheels, check. You just need that pin. Next step was rear wheels or shock. Let's put the shock on. Okay. So love this. It's got a rear swing arm. A little bit of cush for the booty. Shock. So what you're gonna do, because it's gotta fit in there, you gotta pull this down. There's 2 different length bolts. Long one looks like it's gonna go at the bottom. And on the passenger side, that's where you're gonna start it because it's actually got a hexagon hole where you can put the head in and you only need 1 wrench. So it is a lock nut. And the size of it's either going to be a 14 millimeter or a 9/16. So we're going to have to use a socket. So can you get a 9/16 socket and ratchet? So check this out, guys. Here's the little wrench that came with it. Here's the bolt. Major quality control problem when your wrench that comes with it doesn't even fit. This is way too small and we need to just throw this away and use a regular tool set. I'm going to say pretty clearly looked like the top one was the long tab and it will not even reach. So I'm going to go back and remove the bolt from the top, and use the long tab at the bottom. How you like those translations? Okay. Okay, we're in. So put the long bolt at the bottom and get your little nut started. All right, and then prop up your swing arm. Okay, so putting the rear shock on is pretty straightforward, but it is a little bit of a pain in the butt because this top one you can't really get to. So to tighten that, you're going to need a shallow well socket. This deep well is not going to get up in there, buddy. While he's getting different tools, I'm going to put the rear wheels on. Wait, 14 millimeter. Okay, this is not staged. It appears that the rear axle might be too short. It doesn't seem to be long enough to get a pin on both sides, but it also might not have the gearboxes in there all the way.
They're not included.
Weird. I think we found it. The gearboxes actually need to be slid in. So, all right, I can't really explain it, what's catching. I think it might be the torque sleeves on the motor. And they are 550 series motors, but they're going to be wimpy ones. We've known that from the past in our other big toys, Green Country builds. But the gearbox actually has to be flush. There's 2 screw holes, and there actually is no mention of it in the instructions. There is a few screws, but there's too short and too long. So we're going to go ahead and put the rear wheels on and see if we can figure out what those screws are for. Oh, we know 2 of them are going to be for the rear license plate.
Which one?
Yeah, I don't know. There's not enough screws. There would have to be 4. So go ahead and put that one on. We just want to get this together so we can drive it. There we go.
Do you put a washer on it?
Mm-hmm.
One?
Yep, I got one over here. Got extra washer?
No. I got one.
Okay, we just finished the rear shock, which took an engineering degree. What we found actually worked the best was a 1/4-inch drive with an extension with a flex elbow and a 14mm socket. We couldn't get a 3/8 up in there, so this is what we ended up using to get it in. Pro tip. Okay. Other than like the windshield, I mean, that stuff's easy. It just literally clicks in. But, oh. Windshield does have a little crack in it. I don't think that's going to affect anything. On ours, it's going to be below. Not even going to see it, but check all your parts. What we are going to do now, steering wheel. So it's just got a little 3-prong connector. You're going to connect that in here. It only goes one way. Charge the battery and then also connect the positive lead. And what I like to do is there's a little prong and you're going to connect that, and I leave it up so that I can push it down and easily pull it off. So evidently they ship it with the key on, but the battery disconnected. So I think we're ready for a little test drive. So let's go ahead and lower the lift. So there's the suspension. It's actually got quite a bit of travel. You could easily replace that with a linear actuator and make it have an air ride effect like that.
I'm not heavy enough to weigh it now.
So steering wheel, the bolt is in it. So all you need is a screwdriver. So the seat's got a couple little straps here. Some people like that. They think, you know, it's a safety thing, but for me it just gets in the way. Okay. All right, so it does come with a few extra parts. It comes with an extra washer. We found out what the 2 screws are for. So 2 short ones are going to be probably for your license plate, and then the 2 longer screws are going to be for each corner of the seat. So there is no screws to hold those gearboxes in like we were talking about earlier. And the seat is not adjustable fore or aft, so you're pretty much one size is all you're going to have. So let's do this initial test drive. Gonna have, yes, I know this kid's way too big for it, but unless somebody wants to go ahead and send me Willy Wonka's shrink ray, this is what I have to work with. Okay guys, so here's the remote control that comes with this Amazon Slingshot, and on this side this is your steering, left, right, and that says P. What that is that's an emergency cutoff. So if your kid's driving it in I guess you'd say manual mode where they have to press the gas pedal, you can hit this and it actually cuts power if they're getting too close to the road or they're running away with, you know, mom's purse. You can hit that and it will put the brakes on. You hit it again and it puts it back into mode. On this side is actually the speed selector. So you're going to hit that. You can see that it's one dot. I don't know if you can see it in the screen or not, but that's 1 is low speed, 2 dots is medium speed, and 3 is going to be high speed. Now I've bashed these before because the steering on these is nothing like the robotics grade stuff that we use. It's just got a standard gearbox on the drive or on the steering shaft, and what it does is it just turns it left and right. It does not self-center, so when you let off, it's just going to stay there. So you're going to be, as a parent, be constantly fiddling with this to try to get it to go straight. I'll try to get a little running video here. So there's forward. So you can see the steering. I mean, it is what it is for the price, because for us to do a conversion, it's like $500-600 in parts, because we need a potentiometer feedback linear actuator, a linear actuator control board. We need a RC radio system with a receiver, and labor and custom mounting it into this. This one would be actually pretty easy to do, but yeah, it's going to cost you $500-600. But when you let off the little steering wheel for the steering, it's going to self-center and it's going to go straight. It's just going to perform way better, but you're going to pay for that. So it is what it is, guys. But that's it. So here's an example of the power brake. And you have to hit it again to get out of it. Pretty cool. Oh, and one last thing. There's no on-off on this. It senses when you're not using it. To save battery, it just cuts off power like it just did. Okay, so here's the walk around of our off-brand Polaris Slingshot. And why I say off-brand is, check this out, guys. We just got it pretty much all assembled, and look what it says in the front. Polaris. Oh yeah. As opposed to a licensed Peg Perigo Polaris. It's definitely smaller too. I think that I stated it earlier, but this is 77-pound weight capacity, and the Peg Perigo is 130-pound capacity. They're both 12 volts, but the Peg Perigo is a much larger 12-volt, 12-amp-hour battery, and this is a tiny 12-volt, 7-amp-hour battery. But under the seat, and I've got it bolted down, but I know I'm going to have to do a separate video. So this is basically the assembly video because they just seem to drag on. So we're going to do a walk around, and then I'm going to cut it and upload it, and then I'm going to do a product review video on it, because there actually is a lot of information on the assembly video. So let's continue with the walk around. So packaging from Amazon was good. Shipping time was good. I think it was a week that we got it. Price for under $300 shipped. You get a moderate power wheels, and we will finish this off with a driving video too. So it's definitely smaller. Here's the positives. I'm going to talk about the positives. So I like that it's easy on-off wheels. They have traction bands. It actually looks pretty cool. I think that the plastic is polypropylene, and it doesn't take paint well. That's why we wanted black. It looks pretty slick. But let's line her up. So size-wise, it's hard to tell, but it's definitely got a shorter seat area. It's a little bit shorter. Let's turn this guy on for you guys. There is the Polaris on the steering wheel too. So it has a keyed ignition. The key actually comes out. So without the key, guys, the kid loses it, you can't drive it. So you turn the ignition on. It's got the standard sound effect, revving up motor. It's got a little stereo system in here, which is annoying to me, actually. Yeehaw! The only way I could figure out how to shut that off was to turn it off and turn it back on. It's got a horn, but there's like a delay. There was? There. Oh. So it's when you let off it beeps. It actually has factory installed lighting, so it's got an on-off switch for the lights. So those are the lights right here. They're these teeny, they're probably little 5-volt LEDs. When we install them, we do an LED strip. So we'll probably change those out. For the front end for the lights, I mean, they're decent, but you aren't going to drive at night with these. So it's got those little LEDs. At least it's got the reflector lens. And we're going to swap those out for some eagle eyes. So we will definitely do a review video and then the upgraded video, because this thing's got some cool potential. Okay, it's got some shocks on the front here, but they're pretty much pointless, super stiff. The rear end is actually pretty cool. I mean, it's got quite a bit of travel here. It's obviously, you know, the span of that plunger there, I think it's about 3 inches of travel. So driving, it's got a park, reverse, and forward, and then it's got high speed, low speed. And then the remote itself has its own speed settings. That's what S is. I do recommend looking at the box, probably keeping it so that you guys can get the specs. It does have a parent control. So why don't we get the driver over there, come on over and give this thing a drive. So it's got the soft start, so you got it in forward. Put it in reverse. So that's pretty much it. It's got the soft start. We'll get an outside running video and the RC and talk about that. But overall, it's pretty cool. It's no Peg Perigo, but it's pretty cool. Okay, so the under seat view, you're going to see in the middle here is the stock 12 volt 7 amp hour battery, and over here under the passenger seat is the control board. Now, I don't recommend that you overvolt these to try to make it faster, but you can definitely add runtime by taking these 2 screws. Oh, it's actually just sitting there. I wonder if that's supposed... Yeah, these screws were supposed to be holding it in place, but you could move this out of the way if you wanted super long runtime. If you leave this stock, guys, I would say that this is probably for... you know, obviously a little kid, when the parent drives, up to like maybe 4 or 5-year-old, and to get longer runtime, this is a stock 12 volt 12 amp hour battery that comes in most ride-ons. It has a direct fit right there. All you need is a piece of metal with 2 holes in it for your hold down. You can put that very easily, and I will do a review video on that, to put this in parallel so that basically you're tripling your runtime. Now, if you move this guy out of the way, you could even put a 3rd battery over here. And this is the stuff that I love to explain to you guys, because when you're seeing it on the old Amazon site, all it shows is the pretty pictures and the smiling kids. It doesn't show these features, so you can really get some serious runtime out of this. You can upgrade the motors, upgrade the wiring, all kinds of cool stuff. Overall, I think this is a win. I think this is I give it a thumbs up. But we can definitely do better. Custom is always better in the shop, right? And then I didn't show you where, but yeah, you plug this sucker in, and it is actually a 1 amp charger. And if you increase by putting bigger batteries, you're going to want a bigger charger, like a 3 or 4 amp charger. And you can literally cut this off, because this thing's basically garbage, and plug it into there, What you're going to have to do though is remove this diode, because it won't sense smart charger, because it only allows power in but not out, and a smart charger needs power getting to it to know that it is connected to a battery. Otherwise it would spark when you touch the alligator clips together. So that's the reason that you're going to need to remove this little, where is it? This little diode right there. It's a pretty easy solution with a soldering gun. Okay, so this is the Optima battery. I just plugged it in. It went through its analyzing stage, as you saw. And what we're looking at, once it can focus here. Oh no. It's at 75% charged. And I just had it focused. And you can't really read the LED light, screen, but it basically says it's charging the small battery at 14.8 volts at 0.8 amps. Sealed lead acid battery needs to be charged low and slow, much like smoking a brisket. It's the safest way. It's going to have the most expected lifespan, and it's the perfect application for this. So stay tuned for a video on that. I really do need to do a product review video because it's the best charger I've ever used, and love it. So we just have alligator clips, and we are charging the stock battery. We might even just switch it over and go with the 12 amp hour. I don't know. It kind of all depends. This thing's going to be for sale, so if you guys are interested in having this built up, send us a message and let us know what you have in mind, your budget, and we'll see what kind of build we can do for you guys.